Hello and welcome to Iron Dinos. I'm Sean and I'm here with Adam.
Hey!
And this is our annual year in review, which I was trying so hard not to say yearly year in review that when I said year in review it came out a bit weird because I also didn't want to say anal year of review. So annual year of review, where we think back on certain things, subjects, and we tell you what was good and what we liked and what we didn't. So Adam, without any further ado, what is your game of the year? Oh yes, and just to explain the rules, it is what we have experienced for the first time this year. It's not necessarily something that was released this year. Okay, so it could be a movie you've seen this year that was released in 1984 or released in 2024. Adam, best game.
Okay, best game, and I've sneaked the rules slightly on this one. Purely because...
So have I. So
purely because I absolutely love it. And it's Phasmophobia. I fell in love with this game when it first released, which technically speaking was 2020. And that's pretty much when I played it. I think mine was 2021 when I first played it. But it got released to Xbox this year. So I played it on the Xbox for the first time this year, so I'm counting that as a win.
That is very cheeky. That is incredibly cheeky.
So yeah, I might bend the rules slightly. But anyway, Phasmophobia, if for people who do not know, how do you not know? Phasmophobia is a paranormal horror game by British indie game studio Kinetic Games. The developer was Kinetic Games. They're a very small studio to begin with. I believe it was just one guy to begin with. And he's extended it now. Extended the platforms. I believe now it's on PlayStation 5, Xbox and Microsoft. So yeah, there's plenty of platforms it's on. And yeah, you hunt ghosts. There's loads of different types of ghosts. Sean, I'll be getting you into it recently with our series. So, what do you think about it?
It's a ton of fun. I have known about this for a while because I think it's Mega G Wolf used to play it. And I watched one or two of his videos and I really didn't think it was going to be something I enjoyed whatsoever. And I was very pleased to be proven utterly wrong because Adam has been banging on about doing this for years. I just haven't had a computer that would sustain us doing it on the PC. So, yeah, but it came out in time for Halloween, so I immediately purchased it. Like, all that I've played of it, you've seen on the channel, and yes, whale of a time. Great fun.
Yeah, absolutely love it. And I love the fact they do all the events as well. So, obviously, they do the Halloween, as Sean just said. They've just done the Christmas, which plug got Christmas specials out on it. Go watch. And yeah, it's fantastic. And they do a whole thing where you can earn a trophy, and it's like a community-based one, so it's not like a personal one. So you gain points by doing the Christmas maps, and the cumulative points of the community will then grant you the rewards, which is like a trophy at the end. And I think the stage 1 and 2 you get a cool sort of gaming card to your profile as well. So yeah, absolutely awesome game. Loved it. Highly recommend playing it. But what's your best game, dude?
I have bent the rules in a very different but equally completely breaking them way. Although technically kind of not. So, my shortlist was Turnip Boy Robs a Bank, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
McPixel 3, that I just keep playing, because it's also hilarious. And what I spent the most time this year playing was Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door and Sonic Frontiers. Two very different but very excellent games. But what I wanted to add was Blood Omen, The Legacy of Kain, because having been in an 11-year drought of Legacy of Kain content, its last game being delivered in 2003, this year has been astounding for us Legacy of Kain fans. We got a graphic novel with loads of merch. We got the Evercade cartridge, which has Blood Omen and Soul Reaver on. Now we've got the Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remasters, which I've also bought. So, as a Legacy of Kain fan, this has been wonderful. And Blood Omen, which I have played quarter of an hour before trying to get it working on my PC because it was abandonware for the longest time, is the reason I finally took the plunge and bought an Evercade. So my game of the year is technically not a game, it's a system, and it is my Evercade because I have fallen in love with this thing. I got the Evercade Versus. I'm now making a monthly video on for the channel. I've dived into, I've gone out and got myself as many of the out-of-print cartridges as I've been able to find at a reasonable price and stuff like that. So that like heightens the collector in me because I get to go and try and hunt down bargains and stuff like that. And every game on it is some kind of classic that I may or may not ever have played before. So I'm getting to experience lots of new things and loads of games I just won't have played since the 80s, since they left, video arcades and since they left the arcades. And was it because I might have had a version on my Commodore 64, but that's not a kind of game that I play an awful lot of anymore. What would be an 80s arcade or whatever. So, I have absolutely fallen in love with the system. I've currently got 17 cartridges.
Nice.
Of the 64 available. I've got a promo code to get some. If you buy 5, you get 10% off, which I'm going to do with my Christmas money. So I'll have another 5 cartridges coming to me soon. And over the next couple of years, because it ain't going to be immediate, they're $17.99 a cartridge, but I'll slowly build up the rest of the collection, and that'll be that. But I love this little system. I love everything about it. Like they know their audience, and they are delivering well for them. They're for people who are nostalgic for classic games more than not. Although there are several newer indie titles on there as well. Smaller ones, but right down to if you go into the settings, eventually you'll find a password screen, and there are passwords you can put in there, and they'll unlock additional games and silly stuff like that. There's a game of the month which when you download the new one, it gets rid of the last month and you just play through that. There's secrets like putting in 2 cartridges from the same company will unlock a bonus extra game. Just loads of silly little stuff like that. And it's relatively cheap. I think it's about 90 quid for the console itself, $17.99 for a cartridge, or the vast majority of which have several games on them. It's absolutely fantastic. I've fallen in love with it, as I say, and when I find a decent place to be able to put it on my desk, it may just be my most played console next year.
Very nice.
But speaking of games, that brings us on to the little, pat on the back we do for the channel, which is the best video and or series on the channel. So this has to have been released within the calendar year of 2024. Adam, what is your best video or series?
I've liked quite a few, actually. Generally speaking, the rule of this channel is we always play what we like anyway. But the series that really sort of caught my imagination and I really, really enjoyed playing with you was Play Up. Play Up. Yeah, really enjoyed that. So Play Up is a restaurant management simulator game with a few roguelike elements in it. And the platforms are Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, Xbox. They've got all those. The developer, it's Happening. It was first released 2022, and the publishers are Yogscast, Numbskull Games, PM Studios. And it's great. It's got a real nice cartoon appearance to it, and that really adds to the fun. And it's a little bit like some other restaurant simulators that we've played before, but this one, the chaos comes with how many patrons to your restaurant there are. So the more patrons, the more orders you get, and then the more you've got to cook. And then there's the added elements of, I think it's every star you get. So you do a certain number of days and you'll gain a star. And on that star, you've got to pick between two options. And generally speaking, they're really crappy options. They're often like an extra food menu item, or it's something to do with your patrons, like patience or what they're ordering and stuff like that. So it all adds to the chaos, and you basically got to last as long as you can. And we managed to get to day 15, the magical day 15, where you get to franchise. So that gives you like a little save option to your settings and the cards that you've earned throughout those 15 days, and you get to throw away a few of the crappy ones as well. So that's pretty awesome. And it's got so much content in it. Like, there's so many starter menu options. We've only done a handful of them, haven't we, mate? There's so many. I think recently they've added a few more restaurant menu items. I know dumplings was on there that last time I saw. So that seemed really hard. And each has a star rating as well of difficulty. So if you want to go easy, or if you want to go hard, that's how you choose your difficulty, and buy the menu item, which I kind of really like. And the restaurant layout, you get to choose between a load of maps that you've unlocked. Generally speaking, you get a choice of 3 per location, and you can unlock other locations as well. And there's just so many game tweaks that you can do to change your experience. Really, really, really like it. And what did you think of that one, dude?
It was really fun. The randomization of what you get at the end of each day, so you can pick up new perks, things to put around the restaurant, be it a new counter or this, that, and the other. I think they did a pretty good job of balancing all of that it never feels like you're just punished turn after turn after turn. So it did feel like you were usually given at least one thing that would genuinely be helpful, even if the other 3 or however many were effectively useless. It's usually the same with the star rating. There's 2 options. One is normally significantly less challenging than the other, although we have had occasions where both options have tanked the run. I think it's very good fun. I enjoyed playing it for the channel with you, and I think we made some decent enough videos out of it. I've really fun just mucking around with you on the restaurants, and that's the roguelike element actually that Sean picked up on there. So you make one mistake and your restaurant's done, and then you got to start again from day one, but you do pick up unlockable stuff. So you'll pick up like a new location, or you'll pick up a new restaurant item, or the further you go, you basically go up in levels, and the higher the level, obviously the more you unlock.
that's the roguelite element to it, but it's not. It's not like complete start again. Like you build your profile as you go. So yes, it's really, really good. Highly, highly recommend it. And
still on Game Pass.
Yeah, still on Game Pass if for all you Xbox lovers out there. But yeah, so that's my series on the channel. So Sean, what's your series?
Frog Detective.
I thought that would be your choice.
Not even joke. So my process for making the animal games videos and stuff is basically that I will download it to my Xbox. I won't look up anything about it. I will start recording, and I'll record 30 minutes to an hour, and usually anything interesting I've got to say is in the first 20 to 30 minutes. If there's something interesting after that, I'll cut a bit in a bit later and stuff like that. But that's how I do those videos. So I saw that picture for Frog Detective. I thought, well, I'll get 20 minutes out of this. And as you may have noticed from the first video being over an hour, I just played through the entire first mystery on it, laughing my absolute head off and having literally one of the best times I've had with any video game this year. This was on my shortlist for best game, but when the OK took over, I thought, fuck it, it's getting this award anyway. So I have laughed and laughed and laughed at that game, and that's why I just then played the rest of it, because I was like, I couldn't not continue. I was having such a wonderful time. I was laughing so hard, and I genuinely wanted to see what insanity or what ridiculous thing would come out next, and it constantly surprised and delighted me throughout the entire playthrough. I've since bought it. I paid for a copy for the Xbox. I think it recently went off Game Pass anyway, but I bought it on Steam as well, just as like I played it for free on Game Pass, so I bought it on those platforms as well, just as like a little thank you tip to the devs. But I found out it's available physically for the Switch, so I'm actually going to buy that as well. If it can come down to, it's 35 quid at the minute, which is a bit rich, but if it comes out about 25 quid, I'll get a physical copy as well, just to sit in my drawer of my little Switch collection. I thought that game was just an absolute joy from start to finish, and I still will put on one of those videos every once in a while and just laugh as though I was looking at it for the first time. I think games are absolutely incredible, and I think those videos are very, 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 very fun to watch. It was. I think they're almost as much fun to watch as they were to make, but holding my sides with laughter. Like, there's parts in all three of those where I can barely speak, because I'm just like, I'm not laughing like ha 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 directly into the microphone, because that would be a horrible listening experience. I'm trying to hold it back a bit, and I can barely speak because I'm just trying. All I want to do is just giggle and laugh. I think those games are absolutely tremendous, and making them and uploading them and making my little previously ons and stuff like that was just freaking tremendous.
Yeah, no, I did enjoy those videos. I've played actually a little bit myself now, so yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I will need to play through them again at some point, because there are about 4 achievements I missed, or 3 achievements I missed. There's not very many, because you get them by going through, but there's obviously something I missed out on, a couple of things I missed out on doing, so...
Yeah, no, that was definitely a lot of fun.
And now we move on to Best Movie. What, Adam, is your film of the year? Or the best film you saw this year?
Yeah, so because of personal things going on in my life, I haven't had a lot to see this year. I haven't been to the cinema too much, so my choice was limited, but there was a few movies I really did enjoy. It might not be the best movie of the year, but that's not what this category is. So this category is the best movie I've seen this year. Just to explain. So it is The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Ooh.
And I really enjoyed it. It's a Guy Ritchie film, and it stars Henry Cavill, Alan Richardson, Isa Gonzalez, Alex Petitfer, Till Schweiger, if I'm pronouncing his last name right there. Apologies if I'm not. It's really, really good, and the basis is British Prime Minister Winston Churchill and a group of military officials hatch a plan to take out the German U-boats during World War II. Top secret mission, the type that, if they got found out, the British Prime Minister goes, "Oh no, I don't know anything about this." So he's got like free reign almost to choose his team, and he chooses obviously some right down and out crazy ass people to do it. He himself is the character himself is rather nuts himself. So yeah, it's just a lot of fun, and yeah, there's holes in the film that you can pick, but I don't know. Just the fact that it's like loose. I suppose you could say loosely based on stuff that happened in the war. So that added with the fun element that's injected into this through the characters. I was laughing out loud all the way through the film, and I really, really enjoyed it. And that's kind of my basis for enjoying a film, really. If I've sat through the whole entire film, loved every single second of it, regardless of any holes in that, I'm like, yeah, alright, that's a good film. So, yeah, really, really enjoyed this one. Did you see it, mate?
No, I didn't see that one yet. It's on my list of stuff to watch, because I usually do enjoy Guy Ritchie stuff. But I just haven't got around to it yet. Henry Cavill's in it as well, right?
Yeah. Henry Cavill.
Yeah, I will get around to watching that at some point. I think I've got it on my computer or Amazon or something. So yeah, I'll watch it at some point.
Yeah, he plays a really good role actually. He's like a real crazy commander, but he's like a bit of a legend at the same time. So when they're looking for people to do this, it was like a very short list of, alright, yeah, well, we need him. And then it's like, has it really got to be him? It's like, well, yeah, he's pretty much the only one who can do it. So it was that kind of direction. And yeah, he plays the role really, really well. He's like a really upstanding gentleman the way he talks, but his actions are like complete opposite of that. And it's just it's a lot of fun. And Alan Richardson, he plays a really good role in it as well. He played Reacher in the series Reacher. Yeah, he acted really well in that as well. So I knew it was going to be a good one. Yeah, he's like a bit more crazy than Henry Cavill's character, but he's like a super genius at the same time, which makes him really dangerous. Yeah, all the characters just really add to it, and they've basically, without spoiling the movie, they basically got to infiltrate a German base where the U-boats are, and yeah, to take them out effectively, to give the Allies a chance in the war, really. It's all out fun all the way through the film. It's really good, action-packed. It's the kind of film I really, really enjoy. So, yeah, definitely recommend. But what's your movie, dude? I know you've seen quite a fair few.
I had 51 this year. Movies at the cinema.
Oh, wow.
It's just at the cinema. Well, I'm going to spiral back to something you said in a second. So, probably the most excited I was all year was I finally got to see Batman Mask of the Phantasm, my favourite Batman movie in the cinemas. The animated one from 1993. So as you might imagine, I've waited 30 years to see it in the cinema, and that was absolutely amazing. But that is not a movie I saw for the first time this year, so it cannot get my top nomination. Now, Adam just said, "Oh, I was laughing and enjoying myself, and that's all I want in a movie, and that's why this is my movie of the year." So I'm kind of the opposite. The things in contention for my movie of the year is The Substance, which is absolutely horrifying. Like, it's a body horror satire of beauty standards, and was a very uncomfortable watch from start to finish.
Right.
Super late entry that I saw on Christmas Day was a movie called I Saw the TV Glow,
Right.
which is all about it's all about the question of identity, and is one of the most bleakly depressing things I've seen all year. And then my film of the year, which to this day, I've seen this about 4 or 5 times now, and the ending to it is so horrifying. I am in absolute dread of getting to that bit, because there's some bit in my brain that dislikes the end of this movie so much. It's literally like that thing of, they say, you know, when you see something so horrific you can't look away. Like, it sticks in my mind, horrifying me. And the fact that this is also the resurrection of a franchise I love, that last released a genuinely good movie in 1984. That's right, we're talking about Alien Romulus. Is astounding to me. This is the movie I've been waiting. This is the movie I've been waiting the entire time I've been watching Alien movies to see, because I didn't see the Alien movies until it's in Alien 3, I think, which I always thought was there. But I hadn't seen Alien or Aliens until the late 90s, when a DVD, VHS, there you go, VHS box set came off. Alien is one of my top 5 favourite films of all time. I think that is a masterpiece of sci-fi and a masterpiece of horror. And the fact that it's both is just incredible. Aliens, of course, is the sequel, and that is the way to do a great sequel to something like Alien. It is everything but 10 times more. It's a different genre, so it's not trying to replicate the first one. It's entirely its own beast, but it doesn't feel discordant with the first one. It doesn't feel like, oh, well, no, these are 2 completely separate things. Like, somehow it feels like a sequel and just a completely separate thing. It just happens to have the same character. So then we get to Alien Romulus, which I've been following for quite some time. And I sat through this entire movie. I said to my friend when we came out of this film, I said, my body, when we were walking out, my body was still tight with tension, with fear. And I don't feel like, I don't get scared watching movies and stuff like that. I'll jump at a jump scare because it's a big loud noise, but I don't sit through most movies and feel like a genuine revulsed terror as I did in Alien Romulus. And then, no spoilers, but the thing in the end haunts my fucking nightmares. It's so awful and so terrifying that it stuck with me. Like, I said to my mate, like, everything about Alien Romulus, like, said it before, my opinion on a movie is, if it does everything it's trying to do flawlessly, it is a flawless movie. And I don't care if that's made by De Palma or whoever made Biodome. I'm not saying Biodome is in that category, by the way, but Alien Romulus does everything it does pretty much perfectly. And one of the things I said to my mates is, like, I don't, like, he's like, when did you start feeling the tension? So as it ramps up later on, I was like, it got me immediately, because if you listen to the sound design, everything is fucking screaming. When they get on that station, everything is a scream or a shit. Like the doors opening sound like a slow kind of death rattle, and when it's the higher pitched ones, it sounds like a shriek. Like the metal on metal sounds like someone screaming in the distance. Like everything sounds like something in pain or in terror, and it's fucking constant throughout the majority of the film. And then again, you get to that ending, and all of that happens. I'm like, this is the worst thing This is one of the worst horror things I've ever seen. Like, it's actually seriously affecting me. This is so awful. Like, I fucking love it. I think it's just an incredible movie. For someone like me who was just able, you know, obviously there's going to be some people who weren't able to just embed themselves into the world or whatever. But for me, it grabbed me almost immediately. It had all the kind of stuff I love. You know, I love a robot and the story of an AI or something like that, and what is its level of sentience and what is its sense of self and stuff like that. And that was all played across against the archetypes of the characters, right down to having a mother and all this, that, and the other. Using a version of Ash was genius. I'm actually really against reusing actors, particularly ones who have passed, but stuff like that. I think, for example, with Indiana Jones, when they made the new one, that is when they should have recast. When they were doing the young Indiana Jones stuff, that is when they should have recast them, because Harrison Ford is a very old man. You saw through that movie, he had a job doing not everything that was asked of him, but quite a bit of it, and quite a bit of camera trickery. That was the time to recast. All of these franchises should be recasting rather than holding on to that nostalgia. But using the base of Ash for Rook worked so perfectly because that model would be in all of those places. It wasn't off-putting that they used a previously used actor. It actually was the best way to link the films through an actor or something like that, or probably shoehorning in Sigourney Weaver or somewhere. You know, that would have been terrible. Actually using another robot that was the basis, and because you know what Ash's story was. Yeah. So when you meet Rook, you're like, well, this is not going to go well. And they have no choice but to follow his commands. You're like, you know everything he says is making it worse because you've seen that same android in a similar situation make literally everything worse. So it just adds to the tension of it because they have no choice. But it, you know, it's like the alien itself. As soon as you see an egg, that is a promise. That is a promise of what is going to come, because you've seen it before. You saw it in 1979, and you've seen it many, many times over the years. It's been done well, it's done poorly. But as soon as you see that egg, you know what is coming, and your mind can begin to scramble and everything like that. It was the same with using this character. As soon as you see him, you're like, right, I know what his goal is. I know what he's going to be trying to... I know what he's going to be trying to get them to do, and I know why he's going to try and do it. And you're just watching them have to follow him, and it makes everything so much worse. It's so wonderful. Like, it is an unnecessary detail. They could have very easily just used another android or used the mother computer itself or something like that. I thought that was a use of genius. One of the rare occasions where using something nostalgic actually added to the movie rather than was there for the sake of it. But yeah, Alien Romulus. I watched the first Alien from 1979. There's a moment right at the end of the film, and apologies if this is a spoiler for a very old movie. By the way, I've mentioned this on Dino Cast before, so I have already spoiled it if you're up to date with everything we say. But, right, so, in First Alien, Ripley gets off in the little escape pod, and she's walking around and she's dressing down to get into the cryogenic pod to put herself to sleep. And she walks around and she walks around and she walks around, and eventually the alien arm just falls out of a dark crevice. And I have seen that movie 100 times. I know it's coming, but the timing on it is so just slightly off that every single time I misjudge it and it makes me jump. This movie has the same kind of thing. The thing at the end of this movie and what it does is so horrific. I don't think I will ever be okay watching this, even when I've watched it another 20 times. It is so well done that it is now going to be something that if you ever ask me, oh, what's the most horrifying thing in a movie, that's really quickly gonna come to mind. Like I said, I watch a lot of really, I watch quite a lot of awful things. Like The Substance was fucking brilliant and horrifying. There was, quite often, because it's satire, I was laughing along with the gore and the horror and everything else. But Amy Romulus is just sitting there going, this is awful, and we're going to make you watch it. And there's nothing fun about it. There's nothing triumphant about it. This is awful, and you are now going to experience it. And that's absolutely tremendous. It's absolutely tremendous to genuinely make me feel in that kind of way, while effectively sitting safely watching a big screen, at the other end of a room. That's just amazing work on that one.
Yeah.
Did you see any of those this year?
Not this year. No. I have seen other Alien films in the past. I've loved every single one I've watched.
Oh, good. I'm glad I haven't spoiled what happens at the end. Not that I would, because it's a relatively new film. Just that it's awful. It's so awful. So if you eventually watch it, look forward to that.
Yeah. Oh, good pick, man. Good pick.
All right, on to Best Television Show. This is the category that normally stumps me a little more than Adam, so I don't watch a lot of TV. But Adam, please go ahead. What have you got for this one, mate?
So, because of my wife, I end up watching quite a lot of series, and one series that caught my attention very early on, mainly because of the previous versions of it in the past, is The Day of the Jackal.
Oh, okay. Please be careful with spoilers for this, because I've not watched this yet. I've got it all ready to go.
Right,
I was waiting for it to finish. I haven't started it yet, but I'm already gonna say good choice because I'm excited as hell to watch that.
Yeah. So when I initially saw it, I thought, are they doing another true life adaptation? And when I looked into it, it turns out no, they're not. It's a complete story on its own, just using the Jackal's name essentially and what he is. And you've got Eddie Redmayne, you got Lashana Lynch, and the story evolves around those two actors. And Eddie Redmayne plays the Jackal, and Lashana Lynch plays the MI6 operative hunting him down. And she's kind of to say she's under pressure is kind of an understatement. And yeah, like all the pressure's on her to do this, and she's trying to convince her bosses like this is a good thing to pursue, and that's how it starts. So I won't say any more about that. But those two actors are just phenomenal. Like they really do play the part so well, and you immediately get hooked into the age-old, like, the Jackal is the criminal. I should be wanting him dead or captured. And Bianca Pullman, which is the character Lashana plays, like, that's the MI agent, you know, and you know you should be voting for her, but it's not. The way it's done, it completely twists it on its head, and you kind of want her gone. you just say, no, I want you to fail. Like, I'm voting for the Jackal all day long here. I want you to fail. Yeah, and the way they do that is, there's very few things I've seen in the past where you're voting for the baddie, and I think it's such a clever twist to any series, and it really does pull you in like that. And yeah, he's kind of leading a bit of a double life to begin with. You know, he's got his family, and yet he's got this whole sort of past and how he earns his money now. Yeah, he keeps getting more and more dangerous jobs, and he keeps sort of saying, all right, one last one. Okay, I'll do this one last one. And then it's like, it just spirals. And yeah, there's loads of actors in this, and they all play their parts very, very well. It's very well written. Yeah, I can't say any more because I'm going to spoil it, I know, but yeah, it really did hook me from the get-go. Normally, I'm a bit like you, Sean. I wait until the whole series is out so I can watch it without a pause. But I was so hooked by episode 1 that I had to watch the next episode, and so I was on that whole, I've got to wait a week now to find out what happens.
That is exactly why I wait until shows have ended to watch them usually.
Yeah, exactly.
Then I can just go, well, I must watch the next episode, and here it is.
Exactly. And normally I'd be like that, but because obviously, as I said before, like my wife put it on, and I thought, what's this? And it hooked me because of the name initially, and I thought, okay, I'll watch episode 1, and that was it. I was like, right, I've got to watch the next one. I've got to wait. That's all pretty much, when it came to TV, that's all pretty much what my mind was on. And yeah, that's one of the reasons why it got my pick.
They were playing the trailer for it for months in the cinema before movies, which is part of what got me interested. Another part is I've read the book Day of the Jackal, which is great, and the other part is I will always watch something, or I will always give benefit of the doubt something with Eddie Redmayne in, because you never know when you get another performance like in Jupiter's Ascending, where he bizarrely starts screaming and stuff like that, which is one of the greatest pieces of terrible acting I've ever seen an incredibly good actor do. It's phenomenal. The guy was acting as though he was in a movie 20 times as good as the movie he was in. He gave his all. He gave it for nothing, but I will never forget that performance.
Yeah, no, he's a really good actor. I always follow him. If he's ever in anything, I'm immediately interested because I know what kind of skills he's got as an actor. So yeah, the fact that he was in a series, I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be good. And yeah, it's, you know, the budget for this was like 100 million. So, you know.
Oh really?
Yeah, they put a lot into this, and yeah, it shows. It does show, and even down to the particular shots that the director has chosen to use, like to give the sniper's angle on what he's seeing. Like, whenever you've seen snipers in other movies, they don't always do that. But the way they did it in this, yeah, really, really good. Yeah, pulls you in straight away. I love that about it. And yeah, so this absolutely gets my my pick for best series, without spoiling anymore. Because I will. If I carry on, I will. I know I will. So, yeah, dude, your best TV series.
Well, if you follow the channel, you may know a few things about me. One, I'm a very big fan of Batman. And two,
absolutely,
I'm a very big fan of The Batman, the 2022 movie that starred Colin Farrell as the Penguin. And now, we'll add to that, I'm a very, very big fan of the TV series The Penguin, based on Colin Farrell's Penguin. I have always loved the Penguin as a character. I think he's incredibly versatile, and I think you can do an awful lot with him. But he doesn't get the respect necessarily that he is due. This series gave the character the respect he was due. It is also one of the darkest fucking things I have seen in a long, long time. Like, as a piece of television, I would put this up with pretty much any of the greats. I think it was absolutely magnificent. I love that it wasn't a comic book movie, or comic book TV show kind of thing. You know, Marvel have got what they're doing over there, and I enjoy a lot of it, but this was filmed like a proper, just crime show. It was, you know, treated as though it were, obviously it's not quite on this level, but it was treated as though it was The Sopranos or Breaking Bad. It was dead serious. Yeah. And the end is the just darkest thing you can possibly be. And it sets all of it up magnificently, and it's a show that just gets worse and worse and worse. And I'm just like, I was sitting there through the whole thing just going, this is the Penguin story I have always wanted. Yes, even for those who have seen it, even that, not necessarily what I wanted in the comics, but yeah, that was a series that spent the entire time saying, this is why the Penguin is genuinely a Batman level enemy, a Joker level enemy, a Riddler level enemy. You know, this is taking the character dead seriously and taking him on an awful journey and showing every broken, awful part of his character that they could possibly cram into 8 episodes. It was wonderful. It was dark. It was exciting. Like, shocking. Genuinely shocking in places. There's a bit. There's a bit where he is meeting with a rival's family, and that's all I'll say. And it is one of the most shocking things I've ever seen in a TV series. And it cuts to the Penguin, to Colin Farrell's Penguin, and he's got a look on his face that can be read about 20 different ways, and none of them are good. It's immense. And one of the greatest things about Penguin, right, and almost everyone who's seen this and seen the Batman, they'll all say the same thing, cannot see Colin Farrell in that at all. He is lost in the makeup and the character. And there's this video that's gone around, and he's in the full suit, it's a rap party, and he's just talking in his normal way, but he's holding his face in his normal way, because, like, as he's the Penguin, he's got this constant kind of sneer, and he's furrowing his brow and all of this. When he's doing this wrap-up speech, he's not doing any of that. And you're just like, well, yeah, that's very obviously Colin Farrell in a penguin costume. Like, he has crafted such a character with the way he holds his face and everything like that. You can't see him in it in a way that the minute he stops doing that, you can just see Colin Farrell. It's tremendous. He's amazing in it. And that is my show of the year. And
very nice.
I don't even know what you're doing in season 2, but I just fucking want more of it. So
it's always a good sign. Always a good sign of a series when you want more.
Absolutely. So let's move on to Best Music. Adam, fire away.
Right. For those who follow the channel, you probably know my music taste is varied. Is probably the best description you could probably say. Generally speaking, if it's got a beat and I like it and I like the lyrics, yeah, I'm in. If you go back over the years that we've done this and line up all the best musics that I've downloaded over those particular years, you'll see the varied that I've got, and this is no exception. So this is Spinning by Connor Price and Benz. So Connor Price, he is an actor, he's a songwriter. Yeah, he's a rapper, songwriter, he's Canadian, and he's an internet personality, apparently. And he was a child actor, and then he went into music, and he's got a YouTube channel. And on that YouTube channel, that's where he creates most of his stuff and lets his fans in on what he's creating and what he's got. Generally speaking, they're not very long to begin with, and then he, if it's a good thing, he'll put more into it. And he's got this series called Spin the Globe. And Spin the Globe is, he literally has a globe in front of him, and he'll spin it, close his eyes, and then he'll stop it with his finger, and wherever his finger lands, he will try and find an artist, a music artist from that country to do a duet with, and on something that he's writing. And this came out of that, and it was so popular it made it into the one of his best pieces of music. And but the tune itself is really good, and it really pulls you in, and it's a tiny bit too short for my liking. If I had to have a critique on it, I think it's under 3 minutes, but yeah, the whole thing is awesome, and I think that's a good thing as well, because it shows that I want more of it. So by the end of the track, I'm like, oh, I want more. It's that feeling. I came across him a while ago, and it was this year that I came across this, and I thought, I've got to download that. And I've got a playlist on my phone that I always play in the car. I think I've got something like 800 to 900 songs on my phone. I've got a selection of about 30 that are in this playlist that I always play, and Spinning is one of them. Definitely recommend, for sure. What's your best music, dude?
For a long time, mine was set in stone. It was the We Ascend EP by the Radicant.
Okay.
That is a split off from what used to be Anathema. They split several years ago, and Vince has started his own project called the Radicant, and I was absolutely loving that. Nothing else I'd listened to quite this year was quite matching up to the depth and the variety that EP holds. Funny enough, one of the worst films I saw this year, The Crow, gave me two of my favourite new acts of the year, which is Traitors and Cascadier, who were in with a shout for a little while, but then The Cure released Songs of a Lost World and blew everything else I've heard this year out of the water entirely. Basically, they just release an entire album on the theme of endings, and it's the kind of thing where you're just like, yeah, these guys have been around doing this for over 40 years. They know what they're doing. They'd not released a new album in well over a decade and stuff like that. And they just they were releasing like some weird stuff to their social media that was a bit vague, and like about a month or so before that, and there's just suddenly like, yes, a new album out in a few weeks. Like, okay, well, I'm sure this will be good. And you listen to it, it's like, this was one of the most incredible things I've ever listened to. It is that there is a difference between a collection of songs and an album. And while each individual song on there is good, the album is better for them being collected together in the way that they are. It's a fucking masterpiece. There's already much more I can say about that. We can't play any of our favourite picks because, copyright and all
copyright.
That. So, yeah, very much so. The Cure Songs of Lost World is absolutely magnificent.
Awesome.
And finally, for consumed media, what is your best book?
Best book. So, yeah, I follow a few writers, but one of the writers I follow has appeared on the series before. I've spoken about her a lot. But again, she released a book and knocked it out of the park, and yeah, I had to pick it. So it's Sarah J. Maas, and this one is House of Flame and Shadow, and it's part of the Crescent City series. Yeah, it's the third book in the series, and it picks right up where we left off on the second one. In the last one, she ends up in a different world. A lot of this context probably won't make sense to any of those who doesn't follow. So, Crescent City is a world of mythical creatures, I suppose you could say, without giving away too much. And she's not fully human. She's part human. And there's angels, and there's demons, and there's wolves, and there's a lot going on in this place. And the Asteri are the ones who are like the high beings. They're the ones that everybody pays attention to. They're the ones that everybody follows, and they're the ones with the most power. In the last one, Hunt Athalar is an angel. Also, Bryce Quinlan's partner. Bryce Quinlan is the main protagonist in this. He is in their dungeons, and Bryce Quinlan was trying to escape, and she ended up going through this portal into another world. And that is where the book ended, and this is where the new book picks up. It just so happens that this world she's landed in is a previous series of Sarah J. Maas. So she's
Right.
So she's combined the two series together in a fabulous way, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
So is this she's tying two series together, or is this she's gone to an alternate reality that just happens to be one of her other series of books? Or would that be spoiling it?
It's done as if two separate series. Like, you don't know they're linked at all, apart from the fact they have a few of the same mythical creatures. But apart from that, it's all very much two separate series. And her writing it's dramatic, it's sexy, it's sad, it's breathtaking. She combines so many emotions into just a single paragraph. It's incredible how she does it. And these two separate series, you don't think are linked when you first are reading them, and yet they totally are. I believe they're making a TV series, or they're trying to make a TV series out of the other series. So, and the other series I'm on about is A Court of Thorns and Roses. Without giving away too much, A Court of Thorns and Roses follows the main protagonist, Freya, and she again is a human, and she gets dragged across a border that no mortal should ever cross, because on the other side is all immortals. They're very ancient, they're very dangerous, and some turn into wolves, and all of them are of like Fae backgrounds. So, and they all have their own realm to protect, and it's named after the seasons, if you like. So there's a summer, there's a spring, and so forth and so forth. And she gets dragged into that world. Moving on to the other series, Crescent City. So Crescent City, as I said, is its own world with Fae creatures. There's angels, there's wolves, there's little fairies as well, and sprites, and all manner of mythical creatures in this, and including humans. And you don't think they're linked, apart from the fact that both series has Fae. You don't think they're linked at all. But when she lands in this world in the end of the second book, and these other characters start popping in, talking a different language and trying to converse with this human that has appeared in their world, you suddenly pick up on a few things that you recognise, and you're like, hang on a minute, that's from the other series. And then another name pops up, and another name pops up, and all of a sudden you realise, yeah, she's linking the two series. Okay. And that's the sudden realisation, and that's where the book ends, and it's like, holy crap, I want to know what happens. What on earth is going on?
I say, so you're certainly going to be buying the next one.
Yeah, right. so yeah, and this is where the third book leaves off, and it was so well written. Like, normally I'll finish a book in a month. Like, yeah, good decent book I'll finish in a month. But this I finished in under 2 weeks. I did not put it down, and it's big. It's a big old book. Bryce Quinlan is such a fiery character. She's like, imagine a human that has all the fight and consumption and anger towards the world that you could possibly imagine, and yeah, that is Bryce, you know. But at the same time, she's got this place in her heart for all the love and emotions towards her dearest friends and family, and yeah, she's trying to do is live a normal life. That essentially is all she's trying to do, and she just gets dragged into this, well, multiple worlds of a fight, and there's like major magic involved. There's angels, very powerful creatures from another world, and without giving too much away, there's these higher beings that have infiltrated these multiple worlds, and that's the link that links these two series together, is these beings. And yeah, it's all about trying to kick them off the planet and get rid of them, basically. It's all the characters are, you've got some real shy characters mixed in with like some real brave characters. You've got some, quite frankly, nasty characters, and you've got some like downright just comical characters, and she's got the whole range in there, and she mixes them all together so well without overloading you as well. I've read some books where they've added too many main characters and you're trying to follow all of them and it doesn't work, whereas this, she's got the main character as Bryce Quinlan and Hunt Athalar, and everything evolves around those two, and the characters she brings in, she pulls in at the right time and releases them at the right time, and it's just really well written. Yeah, I can't say enough of good stuff about Sarah J. Maas and her writing. She's got 3 series out, and I advise reading every single one of them because they're absolutely fantastic. You've got Throne of Glass, you've got A Court of Thorn and Roses, and you've got Crescent City. And Crescent City House of Flame and Shadow is definitely my pick for this category. So yeah, dude, over to you. Your best book for this year.
I struggled with this one a bit because there's some stuff I've been really enjoying, but nothing really screams out to me. Be it that it's not finished or it's been entertaining, but not, that one step beyond.
Yeah.
A lot of the manga I'm reading is I'm barely anywhere through it, or it feels like I'm barely anywhere through it. So it'd be hard to throw in, say, a Spy X Family, which I'm 12 volumes into, but I've been enjoying it, but it's not like the story isn't complete or anything like that. So it's a bit hard to consider that as the thing of the year. The story's still ongoing. But what I did finally read this year was Guy Evans' Nitro: Incredible Rise and Inevitable Collapse of Ted Turner's WCW. Now, as a wrestling fan, the rise and, more importantly, the fall of WCW is the stuff of legend. Everyone's got an opinion of why it happened, and I've read a couple other books on it, and a lot of people, listen to a lot of documentaries and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But this book was recommended to me because usually you'd go with The Death of WCW by Brian Alvarez, and I had the guy's name until the second I said that, and now it's jumped from my... Anyway, the go-to book is The Death of WCW, and I think the two books work perfectly in tandem. In fact, when I finished Nitro, I reread Death of WCW, because The Death of WCW basically goes through what you see on screen and why it was turning off viewers.
Right.
So it would say, this is the stupid thing they did on this show, this is the stupid thing they did on this show, this is why those things pissed off the viewers. And it goes through that, and it escalates and escalates and escalates because WCW is incredibly poorly managed. However, Nitro, I had very little idea what to expect. He has gone in to the people behind the scenes,
okay,
and quite strongly the corporate structure in which WCW had to exist within Ted Turner's television company.
Right.
Because Ted Turner's television company bought WCW. He owned it to put on the shows and stuff. So, while you've got the one thing, the Death of WCW telling you why viewers stopped watching and what they didn't like and this, that and the other, and what they did, Nitro starts with Eric Bischoff's childhood, and it tells you who he is as a person. And so during his decade or so of shepherding WCW, it shows why he kept falling. It shows the traps he kept falling into and why. But it also tells you about the corporate culture at Turner and why certain things happened to WCW and around WCW and why. It goes into great detail, giving several kind of perspectives as to why WCW had to die, and various bits of politicking that took place around there. It was an absolutely fascinating read and a perfect companion to The Death of WCW. So Nitro was an incredible surprise and kind of a perspective I'd not really heard before. And I was enthralled, obviously. If you're calling it best, yeah, like, I could not put this book down. It's like, oh my god, what possible political manoeuvring is going to happen? Oh my god, this has now happened! It's like, oh no, Eric, don't do it. Oh god, Eric has done. It was fascinating. Absolutely fascinating read.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Yeah. Any series or book that you can't put down it's got to be a good one, right?
So now we'll move on to best activity. What is the best thing you did this year?
So the best activity had to be my birthday present, which was back in the summer, and my wife had brought me 40 Towers tickets to see at the West End show, and it was absolutely phenomenal. I love that West End show. Obviously it was based upon the series. John Cleese co-wrote it with Connie Booth, and it puts together 3 of their favourite episodes into one play. And so you've got the hotel inspectors, you've got communication problems, and you've got the Germans. And all 3 of those episodes I love and laugh out loud. It's so unbelievably funny. My worry going into this was it wouldn't live up to how I remember the TV series being. I own the box set. I've watched it multiple times. Like I'm very well versed on it, and I was a little bit worried. But going up to it, it's at the Apollo Theatre, by the way, and going up to it, it's you can see it all written out on the Apollo Theatre, and then you walk in, and it's just normal theatre at that point. But as you go down to where the drinks are, it's got the reception desk with a photo opportunity all set out exactly like it is in the series, so you can go behind there and take some photos. So we all, of course, did that, and then you sit down, and I love the Apollo Theatre. The Apollo Theatre is one of my favourite theatres. It's very it's big enough that it can hold quite a few, but it still feels very cosy. Like it still feels very like you're part of the stage, and I love that about it. And yeah, the way they've written these 3 separate episodes together is genius in itself, and it flows together seamlessly. Like you do not notice when you're in one episode to the next, and it's laugh out loud, and you can definitely tell John Cleese had a big hand in it based upon the people they've got to act the roles, because not only are they phenomenal actors, but they look like the roles as well. I know that obviously there's a little bit of hair and makeup involved and clothes and blah blah blah, but you really do see the characters in these people. So you got Adam Jackson Smith playing as Basil, you got Anna Jane Cassie as Sybil, and you got Paul Nicholas as the bumbling major. And yeah, my cheek, when you've laughed so much that your cheeks start hurting, your jaw physically aches. Like that is, that's what I was feeling at the halfway point. Like I was like, I need a break. I need a break from laughing so much. It's just, if you are a fan of comedy and that old type British comedy, 40 Towers is definitely one for you. Yeah, go see it down at the West End. It's you will not be disappointed. There's another experience actually I want to do following on from that is the 40 Tales dine-in experience. So you can go have a 3-course meal, and there's actors that come in and about when you're dining, and they play out 40 Tales, but it's not script written. It's all off the cuff. So you've got these characters coming. So you've got Basil coming in, and he will just act like Basil from the series. And whatever happens. It goes like some of the YouTube clips I've seen. It's just absolutely hilarious. So I definitely want to go see that as well. But yeah, the West End show is my pick. It's my birthday present from my wife, and it was magical. It was such a good night. Laughed out loud. Definitely my best activity of this year. But dude, what's your best activity?
I would be brutally murdered if I didn't say my sister's wedding. So I'm just putting it out
yes,
there.
Absolutely.
Tony's wedding was a wonderful day. I had a lovely time. I did a good best man speech. I got horrendously drunk, and I cannot remember the second half of that day. It was wonderful. It was great, yeah.
I love a good wedding.
Actually, all I had to throw axes. I got to drink a shitload, to eat some good food. I don't remember eating a single thing all day. I'm sure I did. Yeah. I don't remember a day or two after that either. So it's a really good day.
Very nice. That sounds awesome. I love a good wedding.
But on the other end of the spectrum, what is your biggest disappointment?
So, my biggest disappointment is kind of linked to a couple of the categories from last year. So, one of the categories from last year was the biggest positive, and that was that we bought a house. This biggest disappointment kind of follows on from that, and it's not to do with the house as such. It's just the financial strain of buying a new house and everything involved with buying a new house. It's meant and we knew this going into this wasn't a surprise to us, but it meant that this year it was kind of like knuckle down, belt and braces, put your wallets in the drawer. It's going to be tight this year, and it meant that we couldn't have a family holiday. We've done a few bits and pieces. As I say, look, I got to do the 40 Towers West End thing, and I think we went to a zoo for my son's birthday, and all little stuff like that. But we didn't get to do a big family holiday, and we always, generally speaking, we've always done a big family holiday, whether it be in this country or another country. And yeah, so I suppose the biggest disappointment is kind of having to belt everything down, make sure we don't spend too much, get everything back under control, settle into the new place, and then we can go again next year. So yeah, that's my biggest disappointment. But dude, what's yours?
Mine was a bit of a 1-2 punch on TV of all things. Something I don't tend to watch a lot of. I was super excited for Batman the Caped Crusader, but I had my hesitations about it. It was supposedly a new adult-orientated Batman show, and I watched it, and I think it's less complex and adult than Batman the Animated Series was. I was just utterly unimpressed, which is annoying because Ed Brubaker, one of my favourite comic book writers of all time, who wrote an incredible load of Batman stories, came on to be showrunner, so he had a hand in several episodes, and nothing about it did much of anything for me. It was really flat. But that pales in comparison to something else I was a bit hesitant about, because I'm not a fan of people coming back to it has been proved again and again and again to me, if someone does something great and then leaves the franchise and comes back 10, 15, 20 years later, they're gonna lay an egg when they come back. 99% of the time it does not work out well. And now, I'm not the biggest fan of Russell T Davies' Doctor Who to start with.
Oh, okay.
But I appreciate how important he was in returning it, and he did write some really entertaining Doctor Who. He came back last year, and he wrote the 3 specials, and I thought the first one was good, but I thought the other 2 were excellent. We've got a new Doctor. Really like the actor. I've heard he's great in things. He looks the part and stuff like that. And I watched this series, and I thought the writing was abysmal.
Oh.
I don't think many of the stories worked on a fundamental level. I was rarely engaged. I thought they were dumb, and I've seen the argument that you're supposed to leave logic at the door because they're more like fairy tales. It's like, well, it's not though, is it? Sci-fi has to have sci-fi rules. They can be wishy-washy silly rules, like I've got a magic box that can go anywhere at any time. Oh no, this is really important, I do this right now. Why don't you get back in the magic box? Shut up. You know, the rules can be silly and wishy-washy as you like, but when it's to the point that I don't think a plot worked or made sense or just was stupid, I get really frustrated with that.
Yeah.
And I felt that through pretty much every episode of this new series of Doctor Who. And it was annoying because I've enjoyed... Again, I found Davis' first run a little hit and miss, but overall very, very strong. Moffat's first few years is my favourite Doctor Who of all time. I do think he went rapidly downhill with the latest seasons when he had Peter Capaldi, but I was reading some stuff on it recently, and I think I missed a huge thread of what he was actually doing with the characters of the Doctors and Clara, and that's the start of my problem. I never liked Clara, but when I rewatch that, I think I'll find a lot of depth that I missed, and that's on me. When I was watching this new Doctor Who, in every single episode, something held me up, and I was just like, well, that's just stupid. Like, where is the logic as to why this has happened and why it is going the way it's going? Right up to it got this incredibly critically acclaimed episode called Dot and Bubble, in which you've got these people. A bit of a spoiler here. You've got all these people, and they live in a facile, constantly online world, to the point that they can't even walk without their AI companion putting an arrow for where they need to go. Stuff like that, right? So they go through this thing, and they're slowly being killed off, and the Doctor has to kind of move them around and save them as many as he can, and stuff like that. And by the end, there's this great big reveal, because it's seeded throughout, but there's this great big reveal that by the time he's got some of them to a place where they're safe, they won't go with him because he is black, and they are racist. Right. And that is a really good twist and a really clever thing, and it is quite well seeded. My problem is, you're following him with one character. The setup's quite stupid anyway, because the logic required isn't there. There's nothing to explain where this threat's come from. And it's got a threat in it. Like, it's got these little light bees that go around them that could be doing the killing. But they need it to be an external thing. So it's already got a leap of logic there. My problem with it is this character is so awful to everyone around her, and everyone to do with her, that she straight up sacrifices someone else's life to save her old skin, seconds before the racist reveal, that to me, that twist, the big thing he was building, was meaningless, which is already an awful person. So she's also racist, but like, she also didn't care about any of her friends being killed, and she also literally had this other guy killed to save her own life. So, like, yeah, and like, it's awful that she's racist, but all these other things are also really awful about her. So she's already an awful character. If they'd just done a couple of things different, if they'd had that character she sacrificed herself not be white, that would have built the set. But he is.
Yeah.
So it makes it meaningless. And like, the whole series is full of stuff like that. And also a snot monster and talking babies. And it's just the reveal of stupid reveal. Like, they do the whole series of who is the companion, who is her mother. Like, they have this scene, she causes snow when she thinks back to the moment that she was left by her mother. Her mother points at a sign, and it's all meaningless by the end. They're like, oh, the mother is just nobody and there's nothing important about it. It's like, so why has any of this other stuff happened? Doesn't make any sense. Oh, it's happened because, it's Doctor Who. It's like, no, there's no rule to it. It's just shit that happens. And I think it was poorly written. Or it was written in a style that my brain can't get past, because I think it's lazy, bad writing.
Yeah.
And that really fucking sucked, because I love Doctor Who. I even love the Doctor Who that a lot of people don't like. I was a very big fan of the Chibnall era. I can see its flaws, but I was damn entertained, and he wrote my favourite master. But yeah, this season and now there's more of it. I've not watched the Christmas special yet because I don't want to.
Wow. And
there's another season of it next year, and I don't want to watch it. Like, that's how bad this last lot were. It doesn't help that I was quite excited for the person playing the new Doctor. I've heard they're very, very good in things, but the way they're playing it is there's a style of acting I don't like, which is, I refer to as amdram. It's very kind of, you're speaking to the back of the room as though you're on stage, but you're also chewing the scenery kind of thing. And it can work when balanced, and it can work when they are an actor who can convince you what they're doing is good. A la Bill Shatner. I don't think this performance of the Doctor worked for me. A lot of people really like it, so that might just be I'm already not liking the episodes. I'm already not liking that there's several episodes the Doctor is barely in because of Gatwa's schedule with other shows. And it all turned into something that a show I've been a big fan of for a very, very long time, and now actively do not want to watch.
Oh.
And that ain't good.
Yeah, that's not good at all. That'd definitely be a disappointment.
So, yeah, I'm hoping he can make it right with the next season, but I don't know. I barely finished I think there are 10 episodes in this season. I can't remember. It was shorter than usual, and I barely finished it. And it's really going to take someone, a fellow fan, like a friend of mine, to tell me, no, this is really good, for me to actually bother with some new ones. That just kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's a shame.
But turning it around, onto the biggest positives. What was your biggest positive of 2024?
The biggest positive of 2024 happened in the end of January, beginning of February, and that was we got a little kitty cat named Lulu. Yeah.
Why have I not seen pictures of your kitty cat yet?
You have.
I demand to see
them. You have right at the beginning of.
What are they called?
But yeah, little Lulu. She's. Well, bit of a story behind this. So we thought we was buying a half ragdoll, half British Shorthair. That's what we thought. She's jet black. And when you take them to the vet and to get all the injections and all that sort of stuff that you do with every animal. And the vet turned around and went, "So, what did you say she was crossed with?" And we was like, "Oh, ragdoll." And he went, yeah, definitely a ragdoll. British short hair. And he went, no, definitely not British short hair. I was like, oh, really? And he was like, yeah. Let me take a look at the website and blah blah blah, where we got it from, blah blah. And so there was still pictures of the other cats from the litter. And he went, oh no, they're definitely ragdoll British short hair, but your one's not. I was like, oh, okay. So what, what is she? And he went, oh no, it's part Bengal. I was like, oh, okay, so it's ragdoll part Bengal. And he was like, yeah, you can tell by the on her back. It was hard to see when she was young. It's very prominent now, but there's these lighter shades of stripes down her back, down the length of her back. There's 3 of them, and he went, that's very indicative of a Bengal. So yeah, you've got ragdoll part Bengal. I was like, ah, okay, we don't care. She's lovely. And yeah, she follows my wife around like a lost little puppy, or lost little kitten. And she absolutely adores my wife. Me, on the other hand, I'm her plaything. Like, when she wants to play, or when she wants to attack, or anything along those lines, or throw me one of my toys, it's me. And yeah, she at first she didn't quite realise her claws, and so we had to very gently discipline her about her claws. But so now, when she does it, she's all pads. She doesn't use her claws now. She's learnt very quickly, and yeah. So when she attacks, it's all with the pads, and it's all very cute, and it's all very fun. But I don't get cuddles. No, I'm happy fun time. Mummy is happy cuddle time. So yeah, we absolutely have our roles. But yeah, she's lit up this year. Like, as I say, we haven't been able to go on holiday, and a few personal things as well have happened, and yeah, so she's definitely been the light of this year. She, every time I come home, she's there. She gives a little meow because she knows I feed her. So like meow 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 meow, and she leads me to the kitchen. Yeah, feed time. So yeah, and I find it amazing. Animals know their feed time to the minute. Like, it's crazy ass. Like, unless they've learnt to read clocks, like their internal body clocks are incredible. Like, come 5 o'clock, she is meowing at me to go in the kitchen and feed her. Like, yeah. And when I wake up, like, generally speaking, when it's work time, I'm generally up the first, and she comes right up to me because she knows that one of the first things I do is I feed her. So yeah, she's up, she's in the kitchen, she's waiting. Yeah, absolutely. And then we started this thing. We've kind of shot ourselves in the foot a bit. So there was a stage where we was trying to get her used to her being on her own for a couple of hours, so that we could go out and come back, and she did that very well. But in order to do that, we kind of gave her a little treat, and it was always around about 12 o'clock. So now 12 o'clock comes, she's meow 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 meow. Where's my treat? I want my treat. It's 12 o'clock. I want my treat. So yeah, but she's a little cutie. We got this tower for her, which she didn't use at all to begin with. Not at all. She just looked at it and like walked away, and then we tried to put her on it, and she's like, "No, I don't want to be on it." Just jumped down and walked away. It was like, "Oh, great. Well, that was a big waste of money." But then she started using it. The last couple of months she started using it, and there's the very top platform has a hole in it with a hammock type material underneath, and it like swings.
Yeah.
She doesn't use the hammock. No. And this happened by accident once, but now she expects it. So I put one of her blankets just on top. I was sorting out the washing. I had it there on top. I was like, I'll just put that there for now. Just put it on top, and it covered the hole. So, and what she did, she jumped on it immediately and sat with her bum over the hole. And because of her weight, it's holding the blanket in place, but her arse is like suspended in this hole by the blanket. And I'm like, Lulu, you've got effectively that right below you. The hammock is right below you. You could just climb into that. But no. She expects now the blanket to be on top of the tower so that she can hang her ass out of this hole. And she's so cute. She really is cute. Yeah, so that is, I think, by far the biggest positive of this year. Yeah, 100%. But I will send you photos.
Yes, I must see.
Yeah. So your biggest positive, dude.
Well, this is going to be a bit of a short one because I don't want to go into too much detail about it. But I got 100% out of debt this year.
Hey, well done.
I do not owe a penny to anyone after, living for years with a lot of money over my head, which I was slowly paying off once upon a time, and then I started paying it off very, very rapidly in the last few years. And yeah, so for the past, now in December, so for the past 7 months, I've not owed a penny to anyone, and it's been unbelievable.
Oh, such a good feeling,
honestly.
Right?
Just, yeah, it's so life-changing. Just every, just being able to now stockpile money and make savings, which is, it's so easy when you don't know anything. When you're not living on the back foot the whole time, it's absolutely tremendous. So yeah, it's my biggest positive of this year.
Fantastic, well done.
I'm accumulating money for the first time in God knows how long. Much of which I'm about to spend on a new computer, and we're about to get to my most excited for 2025. But I don't have to borrow money for any of those things. Not that I would have, but I don't have to, and it's wonderful. It's fantastic. I've worked really, really hard to achieve this, and to see it finally pay off, to have made that final payment and everything was a wonderful feeling.
I bet.
Genuinely.
Yeah, well done. That's awesome.
But speaking of most excited for 2025, Adam, what is yours?
So,
what are you most looking forward to in the new year?
Yeah, so this is again linked to my biggest disappointment, which was linked to my biggest positive the previous year. They're all linked. It's all one thing. It's linked. So when we moved in, we knew the first year was going to be tough. We knew it was going to be, as I've just mentioned, I won't go into again, but batten down the hatches. So this year, now it's all settled down, and we know exactly, or sort of exactly, what's going on. We've been able to put some money aside, and so yeah, we can do our big family holiday this coming year. So yes, we haven't picked yet. We don't know where we're going, but it's exciting, and I'm certainly looking forward to it. We've worked very hard over this year to batten down the hatches and keep everything in place and get the rhythm of life going again, mainly for our kids. And so now we're in that rhythm. This year will be holiday year. So it'll be good.
Fantastic.
It will be good. Well, I can hint we are looking at cruises, but we don't know for sure. We love a good cruise, but on to you, dude. You're most excited for 2025.
Well, it's funny you bring up holidays. I'm finally going to Japan.
Hey!
It's been a dream of mine for 20 odd years. I spent years learning the language, and I think I've just about got enough to muddle through. Although you don't need too much, but I always wanted to be kind of respectful and make a bit of an effort. I didn't want to be the guy shouting in English and holding up like a finger going, "Uno," as we tend to do when we go to Spain and yob it up. So, I've got a lot of the basics down. I've still got, let's say, 10 months. I'm probably going to go in October. So I've still got 10 months to really hammer through. I'm going to study a lot more intensively for a while. But I'm finally going to Japan. It's finally happening. I'm going to be booking it in the next week or so, and I absolutely cannot wait.
Oh, fantastic. That'll be awesome. Have you got some key places and things you want to visit, or you don't know yet?
Yeah, I've got a bunch. I've got a great big list which encompasses more than we can actually do in the time we've got there. We're going to be staying in Tokyo, but I'm going to be getting on the bullet train and going down to Osaka for 3 days, because there's some stuff relatively near. You've got Osaka and Kyoto and Kobe are relatively train rides away, so you can go to stuff kind of down there. I might do 4 days down there, but basically my Japan trip of my dreams, and hopefully the first of a few.
Fantastic.
I'd like to. There's basically 3 trips I'd like to do. There's the big Tokyo one, which is the big, 2 weeks and everything like that. Where I'm going to encompass as big a spread of things as possible. I want to do traditional things. I want to do modern things. I want to do shopping. I want to do all sorts of stuff. I do want to have a short trip at some point and just do Wrestle Kingdom, the New Japan's biggest wrestle show, just to have been at it once. And I would like to go visit I would like to go and stay not in a city at some point. So maybe even go with a tour company that avoids the major cities and shows all the stuff that you otherwise wouldn't see. Because you kind of have to know about it, like that sort of thing. But
a bit more traditional.
Yeah. But this week I'm going to be planning. I'm going to try and condense what I've got to do down, figure out where things are in relation to other things, and make just a general itinerary. There should be 3 of us, touch wood, but obviously everything will be variant on what everyone wants to do on the day and stuff like that. I know how to get tickets to theme parks and stuff like that. There's a couple of that we want to go do. So figuring out when they need to be booked and stuff like that. And the money is in the bank. The money is in the bank waiting to go. All I need to do is pick a package and click OK. So very, very excited for that.
Fantastic. I know you've been working so hard on the language, so that'll be awesome. That'll be awesome.
It's so hard. So much to learn.
I was going to say, you've picked a very hard language.
It's like a foreign language or something, but it's...
Yeah, who knew? Oh no, that's awesome. Cool. Ending it on a good one.
Okay, so that was our review of 2024 with a little bit of 2025 sprinkled in on top. We are obviously going to keep making videos through the next year, so everyone who's watched us this year, thank you very, very much. Everyone who hasn't, go fuck yourselves. And as we like to do at the end of these things, if you've listened this far through the whole thing, right? You've listened to all of this, you've paid attention, I want you to put in the comments, which no one ever does, a word. And I think this year, that word should be Lulu. Because everyone loves cats. If you don't love cats, stop listening now. If you don't like cats, go back in time and unlisten to this. You're not welcome here. But if you're some kind of filthy bottom feeding scum who likes, I like to pretend I've listened to the whole thing. I like to pretend I've listened to all of this podcast and be cool and go in the comments and put the word with your fake word, right? That if you've skipped this far, just hear this word in the comments. Put Time Splitters 2.
Oh, there you go.
Unless you've got something funny. That was just random.
Yeah, I've got one of my son's games down here that I don't even know if he's played, but Ravenous Raptors.
There you go.
That's quite funny.
Yes. But we do hope you'll join us for 2025 when, broadly speaking, there's going to be lots of long series about a game we really like playing together on Monday. There's going to be the same on Friday, interspersed occasionally with other bits and bobs. You know, basically what we've been doing for years, so... I guess that's the end of that. Goodbye!
See ya!